Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study night. The 10th of December 2024. Okay, and the title inside the room is Drones, UFOs, and the End Times. We're going to deal with that. Okay, you can go to Prophets of Awakening and check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can examine and look at. And these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And they will connect dots for you. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Okay. And our hours that we go live are Tuesday and Wednesday, Friday, 7 to 9 Central Time. Okay. Then we have our Shabbat class. We have 2 Shabbat classes on, excuse me, on our Shabbat. We have one in the morning from 10 to 12 Central Time, 8 a.m. And then we have we close the Shabbat out on Saturday evening from 6 to 7. Okay, that's p.m. Central Time. Then we have another Bible class on Sundays in the evenings from starts at 5. Normally it lasts about an hour. It's Central Time also. Okay, so if you want to check us out during those times that we live, you're welcome. Okay. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Okay, Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by our Redeemer and our Savior, the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Okay, and welcome to our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, songs. We have the current events, some need to know information. We'll open up for questions or comments and dialogue, and then we'll go into our topic, which is we'll be dealing with drones and UFOs and the end time, tying that together. Okay, then we'll read out of the scriptures, Isaiah chapter 17, and break it down. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belong unto thee. Therefore, we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servants David and Solomon, Samuel, Hezekiah did. Okay. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments, your testimony, your statutes, and your judgments with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people, and hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, we can get up Psalms. Okay. Okay, I'll read Psalms 2. It's why do the heathen rage? It says, why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? Kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cord from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord shall have all them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill, Zion, and I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. Ask me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, and be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled. But a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So that was Psalms chapter 2. Psalms 2, yeah. And I want to break that down because this is one of those verses that the Christian and even the Hebrew Israelite Christian, they go to this verse right here to they go to this verse right here to try to justify JC, right? So they says that in chapter 12 that it's talking about Jesus, and it says Psalm 20 chapter 2 verse 12 says, "Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled. But a little, blessed are they that put their trust in him." So they go there and they say, without no understanding, without reading the song the correct way, and they don't, they assume that this is JC, right? So what I'm gonna do is go back and shine light on some things, right? So first of all, verse 1 says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?" Yeah, here we go, right here, verse 2. "The kings of the earth," like we know those are the giants, "kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together." Look at this, against the Lord, right? Against the Lord of hosts. The end. "And is anointed," right? So who is anointed? 1 Samuel. Check it out. Let's look at it. Go to 1 Samuel and you'll see who the anointed. Anointed means it's a special order that you have to be all the kings was anointed with. Okay? And so you go to 1 Samuel right quick, let me get it. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 16. Right? And you'll see who it is he's talking about. Chapter 1, 1 Samuel 16, verse 1. "And the Lord," the same Lord that's in the Psalm 2, "the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him, reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil." That's the oil I'm talking about. That's what Messiah means. And okay. "And go, I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons," right? So Jesse went, and understand the story. Jesse went to Samuel went to Jesse's house, and Jesse had like 7 sons. He passed all of them before him until got to David. This is when he anointed David. So it says in verse 11, "Samuel said unto Jesse, Here are all thy sons, thy children. And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for he will not sit down until he comes hither. And 12, and he sent and brought him in, and now he was ruddy and with a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the oil, the horn of oil, anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Spirit of the Lord came down upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah." So right there, this is what he's talking about in Psalms chapter 2, verse 2. "The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel against the Lord and against his anointed." It's David, right? "Saying, Let us break their bands asunder, cast away their cords from us." So right here, like I was saying before, in order to put a breach in Israel, you put a man on the throne, that's not in David's lineage. And when you do that, that causes total chaos and confusion in Israel. So let's look at what these heathen say in verse 2. The kings of the earth, these heathen, set themselves in the and the rulers take counsel together against, see that? They take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands. See that? That's what they want to do to Israel. The reason why we where we at today. Let us break their bands asunder, cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in the wrath, and vex them in the soul of his pleasure. It's the Lord of hosts. Yet, he's talking to the heathen, right? Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill. It's David. JC never was a king of Israel. He says, yet I set my king upon the holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. So he pronouncing it. The Lord, David saying this, the Lord has said unto me, David, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. So when I just read in 1 Samuel, he's been dealing with David when he was young, because David killed a lion, a bear, and all these things. And so he had been with David, but when he certified it, when Samuel went and got the horn of oil and put it on him. That's what he's talking about right here. Yet have I set my king on my holy hill, and I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee, when he put the oil on him. 8, ask me, David talking, and I shall give thee, what the Lord talking to David. Ask me, and I will give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron. We know that's what David did. He killed Goliath and a lot of other giants. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron, and thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings of the earth. Back to the heathen, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord of hosts with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, kiss David, right? If you want to get some favor, kiss David, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled, but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So that's how you read that song. You don't have nothing to do with JC. Okay? Any comments or questions? Okay, I think we got another bucket. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, we go to our current events. Okay.
The FBI is now warning of potential attacks on U.S. soil, but is also asking the U.S. people for help. Now, I'm going to break down what is being said by the FBI, what they're asking the American people to do, and what they are attempting to do with all these wars and escalations overseas. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain what is going on, why the FBI is extremely concerned about attacks here inside the United States, especially in the first few months of Donald Trump being president. So again, we are just about 40 days away from the inauguration day, which means there's going to be some major changes and possible threats hitting our shores very soon. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. What if I told you that there is a serious threat that is facing the United States, and the FBI and Homeland Security don't have a lot of answers. Well, here's what's going on. This article right here says Chinese government poses broad and unrelenting threat to U.S. critical infrastructure. This is according to Christopher Wray. It says partnerships, joint operations, and private sector vigilance can help us fight back. What you need to keep in mind is that the FBI is asking the American people, if you see something, say something. If something seems off, you need to let law enforcement know so they can run it up the chain of command. But listen to what Christopher Wray had to say. Listen to this right here. This is trouble.
Would you say that there's multiple blinking red lights out there?
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn.
So he says he sees blinking lights everywhere he turns. It doesn't matter what it is. If it has to do with a war between Russia and Ukraine, that's a flashing red light. If it's the war between Iran and Israel, keep in mind the United States is backing Israel. Well, that's another blinking red light. If you look at the threats from China into the United States, for instance, all the cyber attacks we've seen lately, yeah, that's troubling. But I want to play another clip for you. Look at this one right here.
FBI Director Christopher Wray told Congress a major China cyber attack would prove much more damaging.
China's hackers are positioning on American infrastructure in preparation to wreak havoc and cause real-world harm to American citizens and communities if and when China decides the time has come to strike.
So if and when China decides the time has come to strike. Now, here's where things get serious. Because right now, everyone is looking at the FBI. Everyone's looking at all the conflicts and tensions around the world. But look at this. This came out just yesterday. This is from Senator Chuck Grassley. He says, Grassley rips Wray's failed leadership at the FBI with 11 pages of examples of blistering no confidence letter. He says, it's time for you and your deputy to move on to the next chapter in your lives. Now, this is the reason why, because of what we are currently facing. We have this right here. The FBI issues a statement as mystery drone sightings reach New York. They're in Florida, they're in New Jersey, they're in Maryland, they're everywhere. That's a huge concern. Now, I'm going to read you their statement and then I want to explain some more issues, but it all comes down to Taiwan and China. I'll explain more on that in a moment. Right here it says, the FBI says, we understand the concern and we are doing all we can to figure out what's going on. We truly don't have much information to provide at the moment. Keep in mind, these drones, okay, these drones right here are just flying overhead and they are scaring communities. But remember when that Chinese spy balloon flew over the United States and we shot it down off the coast of North Carolina? Yeah, that's concerning because, again, we knew what could potentially be there. We knew what the threat was, but then we waited and waited and waited, let it cross the entire U.S. Why would we do such a thing? Yeah, I'm going to play you a clip in a moment, but look at this. It says Iranian cyber actors access critical infrastructure networks. This one says Senator.
Okay.
That's why blood sugar increases and the
fume over response to disturbing and widespread Chinese hack of U.S. telecoms. But it comes down to what Xi Jinping said last year on Christmas. This is the real issue right here. The Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, he warned President Biden during a summit that Beijing will reunify Taiwan with mainland China. Keep in mind what Christopher Wray just said in that video that I just showed you. Again, that was like a handful of months ago, but the concern is still real. China is just waiting. But what are they waiting for? Well, according to reports, they're potentially waiting for a specific date. That is sometime in 2027. But, okay, and here's the big issue. China is getting into all of our infrastructure. Okay, let me show you this right here. says China is able to spy on U.S. with intelligence gathering devices on seaport cranes. I did a video just the other day talking about all those Ring cameras, all those Arlo cameras, the cameras for like Blink and Wise.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about last week when I was talking about this. I said that they had found cameras on the cranes on where they do the shipping on the seaports when they load those ships up. Those cranes, they have built-in cameras in it. They found out. Okay, but he's kind of getting ahead of himself. He's talking about the drones, but we're gonna get to that in a minute. So anybody have any comments on that? Okay, page is right here.
Shalom, sir. I thought they were saying that those balloons from China were weather balloons.
Yeah, they said that they were weather balloons, but they had spy equipment in them. They had surveillance equipment. And they thinking that those spy balloons came first, gathered a bunch of information, and now it's coming. That's where the drone's coming from. The drones is coming based on the information that the spy balloon got. That's what they're looking at. Yep. Okay. Here we go.
General's afraid of Donald Trump or Kash Patel if he heads the FBI, and she's afraid she's going to be put in jail. Well, think again, because she's just responded to Donald Trump's demand that the New York Attorney General immediately rip up and throw away a $500 million civil fraud judgment she hard fought and obtained against Donald Trump after an almost 12-week trial, because, in the words of Donald Trump, Abraham Lincoln would like it, George Washington would like it, JFK would like it, and for the good of the country and unity. Forget that. Go pound sand. We got the new reporting right here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. I'm Michael Popak. Take a minute and hit that free subscribe button. I'm at the intersection of law, New York law, politics, and collecting on judgments. So we've got the following. You may remember 6 or 8 months ago, Letitia James and her office successfully obtained, after a 12-week trial, against Donald Trump and somebody named Alina Habba, who's now going to be the incoming counselor to the president because of all of her failures in representing Donald Trump in the past. Well, Letitia James's office proved to a judge after 11 weeks that Donald Trump and the Trump organization committed persistent fraud in the operation of their companies and obtained loans and insurance coverages that they shouldn't have because they lied about the size of Donald Trump's personal financial statement. And this was after dozens and dozens of witnesses, including those that work for the Trump organization. Donald Trump himself tried to testify, and a mountain, as the judge put it, a mountain of evidence in the courtroom against Donald Trump. She got the $500 million judgment. Donald Trump appealed it. And the appellate court in New York, the First Department Appellate Court, said, well, that seems a little high. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Why don't you put up a $175 million bond, Mr. Trump, so they don't enforce it? And let's have a full appeal on this issue. Now, I practice in New York. The First Department is very tough on damage awards. A little harder on juries, very tough on judges. So I expect the $500 million after the oral argument that I listened to. I expect it to go down. I think it'll go down to a $200 or $300 million range. It's not going to be thrown out. It's not going to be vacated. And so that appeal is pending, and Donald Trump brought that appeal. Now he's claiming in a letter that he sent to the Attorney General a couple of weeks ago through John Sauer, who's going to be the Solicitor General of the United States, the 10th Justice of the United States. How do I know that? Because John Sauer wrote it in the letter that he wrote to Letitia James, almost like threatening her, almost extorting her. I'm going to be a powerful man one day, and you'll be quaking in your boots. Letitia James, the people don't know Tish James. And so he said in his letter, and this is right before Thanksgiving, so I guess turkey was on his mind. He said Lincoln's Thanksgiving Day proclamation. What was he pardoning the turkeys? He called for national unity. And George Washington, in his farewell address, called for national unity. And JFK, in an address to Harvard, called for national unity. I'm halfway through the letter. I'm like, what are you talking about? National unity that comes from Donald Trump being let off the hook of a $500 million judgment? This is from the party that won't let people get out from under their student loans. We're going to let him walk because he happened to win the election. On what grounds? On what basis? All of the fraud that was proven happened when he wasn't even president. So I don't really understand any of this. And look, civil lawsuits can continue against the president when he's in office and without finding that it's unconstitutional. And John Sauer should know that because he was involved in some cases that they reminded him of in their new letter back to him. So that was what the presentation was. And I knew soon after Thanksgiving there would be a letter from Letitia James, and now we got it, right? And so her deputy attorney general wrote a letter on letterhead that said, "Dear Mr. Sauer," I'm paraphrasing again, "this is a civil case, not a criminal case, and you know better. And I'm going to cite some cases to you to show you this case, which is already post-judgment. We're already just at the appellate level. Everything else is done. Couldn't possibly impair or impede the office of the presidency, and you cite no other justification for us to throw away the people's judgment. And we're not going to do that. You're maintaining your appeal. If you lose the appeal at the first department, you'll take it to the highest court in New York. If you lose that appeal, that's okay. You're allowed to litigate while you're the president of the United States. It's not too distracting, and you're doing it anyway. But no, you've cited nothing in the case law. This is a civil, not criminal case. It's for activities and conducts that happened when Donald Trump was not even president, and we're not going to get rid of the case or the judgment or vacate it. Good day." In a very short, pithy, page-and-a-half letter back. Now,
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that? Okay. Got some need to know information right here. Thought this is pretty.
Yes, because it can spread to your own beard.
Okay, for those that don't know, Ghana got a new president, and this new president, he dissed the previous president of Ghana, and now he wants to join with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger.
And so we know what is happening in Burkina Faso. Indeed, we should be working closer with our comrades in Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, this government has created some tension between us and Burkina Faso because our president went and opened his mouth too wide. You saw the video. He went and was doing concern about your neighbor. We all are here. We are suffering. America called you small, and you are so excited, and then your neighbor, you are doing concern about him. You know, and so it has created some diplomatic tension. He went there, went and apologized, but still, it's not the best. So when government changes, we have to go and talk to our neighbors because we must work together. Indeed, the whole anti-terrorism strategy of this sub-region was done in Accra. It's called the Accra Initiative. And so we are the hosts of that initiative. So we must be reaching out to them and seeing how we can collaborate with them in order that we quench the fire in their houses. Because if there's fire in your neighbor's house, you don't help him to put it out, it will spread to your house. And so I think that we must improve our relationship with Burkina Faso. At the same time, we must also strengthen our surveillance and security so that in case it comes into our borders, we are able to deal with it. And that is also the reason why we must solve the Boko crisis as quickly as possible, because just across the border is where this thing is happening. And terrorism feeds into a weak link. And so where you have crisis, that is where it will come through. And that is the reason why the issues of Boko must be dealt with. And that probably could be one of the reasons that they are requesting a region because of security. It can give a better focus on the security of the area and all that. But those are some issues that can be dealt with, at the appropriate time.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that? Ghana is supposed to be joining with the Sahel. Got a new president. Keep an eye on that, okay? So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up as a Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything they heard or they came across? Videos you want to talk about, discuss?
Shalom, brother Leonard. Can you break down the mercy seat for me?
Okay, yeah. Mercy seat is, you know what the Holy of Holies is, right?
I've heard of it, but I can't say that I fully understand that either.
Right. So you had a temple, and then you had the courtyard and all that where the people were, and the high priest. You had these chambers that they have for the Levites. The chambers that where in the very center of the temple is called the holy place, and that's where those that's where they keep those two angels made out of gold. They inside this holy of holies, curtain on it, and inside there they have the Ark of the Covenant, with the, and inside the Ark, they got the 10 Commandments in there, and it's got that armor that when he fed them in the wilderness with the angel food, and they told them they had to come out and each person had to get an armor. Well, they kept one of those armor as a reminder that he had fed them with angel food. So they have that in that ark, the 10 Commandments, and they got Moses' rod in there. And so in that holy, in the mercy seat goes in between. The ark goes in between those two angels, and on top of the ark is the mercy seat. And so they have a Day of Atonement. That's once every year. That's when the Lord of Hosts comes down in the temple, and he meets with the king and the high priest, which is kings out of David's lineage, and the priest is out of Aaron's lineage. Those two have to go in once a year into that Holy of Holies, stand in front of that ark, in front of those two angels, and the Lord of Hosts comes down on top of that mercy seat. The mercy seat is actually the lid that's on top of the ark. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So that's what, like I said, he comes down there. Matter of fact, let's go. I'll give an example of it. If you go to Zechariah, right quick. Zechariah chapter 6, I think. Let me see. No, 4. Zechariah chapter 4. Okay. You got it?
Yes, sir.
So I'm in Zechariah chapter 4. It says, and the angel of the Lord talked with me and came again and waked me as a man is waking out of the sleep. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick. Yeah, that's why I didn't say that. So the menorah, the candlestick, the 7 breath of candlestick is in the Holy of Holies also, and the table with the 12 loaves of bread, the table of shewbread, all that's inside the Holy of Holies. So the angel's talking to Zechariah, and he said in verse 2, and he said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and I behold, candlestick, that's the menorah, all of gold, with a bowl upon it, and 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps which are upon them. So that's each one of those branches is made out. It's hollow. It's made out of brass, and oil is in it. So that's how you got a flame on top of each branch. That's what he's talking about. So he says, verse 3, the 2 olive trees by it. So that's the David seed and Aaron seed. That's the 2 olive trees inside the Holy of Holies, upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side of the bowl. So I answered and spake unto the angel that talked with me, saying, what are these? Right? See that? So he asked him, what are these 2 olive trees? Right? Then the angel that talked with me answered me and said unto me, know thou what these be? And I asked, and I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, that Zerubbabel the king, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord, the host. Who art thou, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel? Thou shalt become a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone thereof with shouting, grace, grace unto grace. So they're in Babylon when Zechariah had his vision. 8. But moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hands shall finish it, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto you. For who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and see the plummet in the hands of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro in the whole earth. Then verse 11, then answered I. So he still haven't got a full understanding of who these 2 anointed ones are, right? So he asked the question again. Then answered I and said unto him, what are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the bowl of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? And I answered again and said unto him, what be these 2 olive branches which through the 2 golden pipes empty into the oil out of themselves? And he answered me, the angel answered me and said, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then here you go. Then said he, these are the 2 anointed ones that stand before the Lord of the whole earth. So we in the Holy of Holies. It's once a year. Both of them have to come in the Holy of Holies and bow down to the Lord of hosts. And then they got to do the atonement. They have to take the 2 goats. They let one go into the wilderness, that represent Aziel, and then the other one, they have to take him, the priest have to lay hands on him, and they kill him. That's atonement for Israel sins for the whole year. Okay? Does it make any sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. So they had to do that every year. And so, like I was saying, people want to know why we in such disarray today. Well, we ain't none of that's happening. Our sins ain't being covered or nothing. We got you thinking JC done did something, but we in disarray because of that. We're not performing none of that. We're not doing oblations or nothing. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Any other questions, comments? Okay. Yeah, so the title inside the class was I was talking, said drones, right? And UFOs and the end times, right? So anybody heard anything about all these sightings of the drones over these military air bases and military bases over the Pentagon? They have a serious situation with the drones in New Jersey. Okay, anybody heard anything about that?
No, sir. I ain't been hearing about that.
Oh, yeah. Just Google it. You'll see they got a serious situation. But this thing, go back to what I had said. I said 5 or 6 times how that they having all this activity in the skies over Jerusalem, right? With the Project Bluebeam. Now it's over. They having them over in the skies in America, specifically in over out in Utah and all that area where it's predominantly white folks. And then they having some recently in New York and in DC. So, and then we know the situation in Israel, how they showing that the Israel being attacked, that Iron Dome ain't working, looking as if Israel's gonna go away. So, like I said, this all plotted and planned by them. So some has happened because of in the past, the Lord of hosts always showed up and delivered Israel at the last minute. So they lied and said that was them that came back in 1948. We know that's not. So they setting up right now a scenario to a great deliverance gonna come, right? And I think it's tied to these drones. They're gonna use these drones to make it look like they've been they being delivered because from the way they playing it, nobody know what these drones coming from, where they are, and then it's like from the way they showing it, the U.S. is dumbfounded when it comes to the drone. So I'm gonna play a few of these videos.
Shalom.
Question. Okay.
Shalom. Yes.
Okay.
While you were saying that, I want to say that by those drones going up, it's time for them to put out the hologram of what they call JC. So if they can have people looking up constantly in the air, then when those drones go up and at night, they probably would be able to do a hologram of the JC or something where you can't really detect what it is because it's night. And how they will say that JC came back to Israel, they would have those holograms, but they're going to do it at night versus in the day. And so they're doing those drones out there all over different places, like you said, Utah and over there in Israel, for one to continue to look up. And that's when they were saying about the drones. So everyone is constantly looking up in the sky. And that's one way to get people to believe in or get some insight into what they're trying to do, not with prophecy, but they're making that prophecy happen as man would do.
Okay. Anybody else? So yeah, just to add to that, make it a little more plainer. Anybody? I'm quite sure y'all heard about the chemtrails, right?
Yes, sir. Michelle mentioned it.
What you say, AJ?
I'm sorry, I was saying, yeah, I heard of chemtrails.
Okay, so the chemtrails is tied to the Project Bluebeam. It's got metallic like substance in it, and what it's doing is those chemtrails, they making like a movie screen, so it don't have to be nighttime. They come with those chemtrails, and they seed in the sky with it. For everything they get, what they're doing right now, it turn the metallic material that's inside the chemtrails. It makes the clouds like a movie screen, like so that they can be used as a projection board, like in the movie theater. So they've been setting all this up for a long time, and not only that, at the same time they got you thinking that it is, but it's supposed to be blocking out the UV rays of the sun, but actually they're turning the clouds in the sky to, like I said, a screen board for them project those satellites on it, those images, everything they're doing now. It's called cloud seeding. That's what those chemtrails is all about. Okay, and if you go back and look at it, they use Project Bluebeam for the planes that supposedly hit the World Trade Center. That one number hologram. Okay.
Yes, sir. And they've done it in the daytime. To add on what Sister Cheryl was saying, they have done it in the daytime. I've seen it at baseball games, like
Right.
a few years ago. Yeah, that's where they was testing it out in the daytime.
Right.
They was having this dragon jump off the top of the stadium and then jump down and touch the ground and then jump up onto the scoreboard. And it looked real too. Like,
Right.
it's crazy.
Exactly. Right. And that's what that is.
Wow.
They have to thicken these clouds in order for they have to make it's like I said, it's like a big screen that you see inside a movie theater. That's what they're doing with those planes when they flying, is to make those screens. Yeah. So yeah, and now they're in full blast, full mode right now, because everything they're doing now is making it look as if Israel's at the end, America at the end, and now all of a sudden here come these drones. Like I was saying, they got something miraculous planned that they're going to use to all of a sudden deliver Israel from the predicament that it's in, and I believe it's some drones. Okay, here we go. Then it's as if it's nothing they can do about it. That's what a trick comes in. Nobody's talking about it. You know, they're not doing nothing.
Why didn't we shoot them down? Let's dive in and see if we can't figure it out. I'm Alex Hollings, and this is Air Power. If you like military tech, then you'll love War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and you can play it right now for free on your PC, your video game console, or your smart device. This game lets you take command of over 2,500 different airplanes, helicopters, tanks, and warships. Despite wave after wave of large, seemingly non-commercial drones penetrating the protected airspace over Langley Air Force Base all throughout December of 2023, the first official acknowledgement of these incursions didn't reach the public until March of this year, when the commander of NORAD and NORTHCOM, U.S. Air Force General Gregory Guillot, publicly testified before the Senate Armed Services Committee. NORAD, or the North American Aerospace Defense Command, is a joint U.S.-Canadian command responsible for monitoring and defending the airspace above North America, while U.S. NORTHCOM, or Northern Command, is tasked with defending the American homeland. I'll quote the general now. As part of my 90-day assessment, to tell the truth, the counter-UAS, or uncrewed aircraft systems mission, has dominated that so far in the first month. Of course, I knew it was an issue coming from another combatant command, CENTCOM, where we faced that threat in a very different way because of the environment, but I wasn't prepared for the number of incursions that I see. I've gone into events at Joint Base Langley Eustis, and I'm using that as the centerpiece of my 90-day assessment. Now, as you may have noticed from the wording of that quote, these drone incursions may have been most severe over Langley, but that wasn't the only place they'd occurred. 2 months prior, in October of 2023, 4 drones were detected entering the airspace above the Nevada National Security Site, where experiments relating to things like the disposition.
That's one of the places where they seeing the apparitions on blue beam is Utah.
Of damaged nuclear weapons are conducted. A 5th drone, seemingly not detected by local systems, was also said to be spotted by eyewitnesses on site. Between December 2019 and January 2020, law enforcement officials in Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas were bewildered by waves of large and small drones.
Those places too. All these places they name it is now where they're seeing all these supposed angels in the sky, JC and all that.
Flying in carefully coordinated grid pattern formations that seemingly didn't violate any federal laws, but did raise serious security concerns because of the mystery surrounding their origins and operators. This time, I'll quote Colorado Senator Cory Gardner. I think this shows a significant gap in our understanding and national security understanding of the threat drones pose. You weren't supposed to be. Now, if you're thinking that's not a great cover, you're right. It may not even get you out of trouble, but it does insulate the nation you're spying for from responsibility. And ultimately, that's the real name of the game in these situations. And in fact, as luck would have it, that might even be exactly what happened over Langley Air Force Base last year. On January 6th, 2024, just 2 weeks after the last drones swarmed over Langley, 26-year-old Fengyang Shi, a Chinese foreign student visa holder in the United States to attend courses at the University of Minnesota, parked his rented Tesla just outside a shipyard in Newport News, Virginia, some 1,200 miles from his home in St. Paul.
His rented Tesla.
Paul.
Okay.
They eyeglass it.
That's all.
The shipyard belonged to Huntington Ingalls Industries, the firm responsible for the construction of America's new Gerald R. Ford-class supercarriers and for supporting a wide variety of other sensitive and classified Navy programs. According to a Department of Justice affidavit, people who lived nearby noticed Xi flying his drone around the secure facility despite very bad weather. And when the drone ultimately got stuck in a tree on the property of a local resident, well, that resident approached him as he was trying to get it down. That resident, who was not identified in the affidavit, ultimately called the police instead of helping. And when the Newport News police arrived and questioned why Xi was flying his drone in that area, especially in such bad weather, Xi reportedly grew visibly nervous. But with the drone still stuck up in the tree and no actual evidence of a crime being committed, the police just told Xi that if he really wants his drone back, he should call the fire department and they could probably help. But Xi instead opted to beeline it right back to his rented Tesla and get out of there. Less than 60 minutes after his interaction with law enforcement, Xi was returning his rental car. He then went on to board an Amtrak train to Washington, D.C., where he bought a plane ticket for the next morning, but not back to St. Paul, Minnesota. He instead flew to Oakland, California, where he went on to purchase a one-way ticket to China. Xi was arrested on January 18th, just before boarding that flight. And it was then that Xi learned that the morning after his interaction with police, his drone had fallen out of the tree all on its own. And that same resident had called the police back, who then turned the drone over to NCIS, or the Naval Criminal Investigative Services, who then subsequently turned it over to the FBI. And that drone, they all soon came to find, was just chock full of photos and videos taken of dry-docked U.S. Navy vessels and other ships under construction at the Newport News Shipbuilding Yard in Newport News, Virginia, and the BAE Systems Shipbuilding Yard in nearby Norfolk, Virginia, the former of which is less than 10 miles from Langley Air Force Base. Xi
Okay, go to another one.
Well, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, is focusing on something very, very important today. It is December 3rd. It is Alien Invasion Day. Of course, now this comes from the individual who had accurately predicted that the Indonesian tsunami would strike. I think it was, 2003? And he was spot on about that. He said December 3rd, that's when it's going to happen again. And it's very interesting that over the past 72 hours or so, we've seen so many different reports around the world, the UK and the United States specifically, of all of these UFO incursions. Massive, and remember, UFO just means unidentified flying object. Are they Chinese? Are they Russian? Are they aliens? We don't have a freaking clue. But here is New Jersey last night. People, they're terrified as they looked up in the sky and saw 10-foot sized drones like hovering all over areas across New Jersey. Watch.
Involved in an investigation into these mysterious, apparently small car-sized drones that people are spotting flying over New Jersey in the middle of the night. Look at this. One woman there took the video you're seeing. So that's it. It looks like it's flying pretty low. And from that perspective, it looks very large, right? And all those lights in the sky that you see there, see those lights? Those are apparently drones as well, they say, seeming to fly in a V formation. But the whole saga stressing people out nearby.
We're all completely unnerved. I didn't sleep last night. When I would get up and look out my window at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., they were hovering. I got up at 5:30 this morning and they were still there. As the sun was starting to rise, they went back in the same direction they came from. And I expect they'll be back as soon as the sun goes down tonight.
Yeah, she's not alone. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
not fair. We lived in Morris County, New Jersey, and we didn't see anything but a bear.
I know. I wish I would have seen these things. But these things aren't just happening in New Jersey. I mean, they're happening in Phoenix once again. They're happening in North Carolina, in Texas, in other parts of Arizona, and across the UK. Reports over the past 72 hours of these massive, like 10-foot, 12-foot, 13-foot sized drones. If they are drones, we don't know. In some sort of a formation that are hovering there for like not just 10 minutes at a time, like this is in the UK, hovering there for an hour or longer in different formations. And no one seems to be doing anything about it. The Pentagon is certainly not doing anything about it. We're going to be speaking to Congresswoman Nancy Mace tomorrow about this. Of course, she has been outspoken that Congress needs to move. If this is a national security issue, and if they're hovering over nuclear bases, which they are, and military installations, which they are, so are they Chinese? Are they Russian? Sources are telling me they are leaning heavily towards that these are Chinese-related drones. Why now? Why December, before President Trump takes office? Like, what are you trying to do here? What's
same time with these, all the stuff they're showing in the sky and all that? It's not a coincidence.
What is actually happening? Go ahead, Philip.
The problem I have with that, I mean, it very well may be that they're Chinese, but why are they being tolerated? Especially in the UK, where they're near a base where the US is, like, you know, storing nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
exactly.
Being tolerated. Like,
so regardless of where you
technology.
Right. Why are we shooting them down? They're hovering over our military bases. Like, why are you just allowing this to happen? And no one's saying that they're aliens. Maybe they are. But why are they allowing this to happen? And here is, this has gone viral. Now, people who have posted this particular video over the UK have had their channels apparently across Reddit taken down. So this video shows what purports to be these very clear drones and a series of formations on this. Now, Philip, you're a big Redditor. Tell me exactly what we're seeing here. You've been following this story.
Well, I don't know where this one actually took place. I think I sent that to you like right before the show, but this is some of the clearest footage I've seen. But most of this is taking place near an air base in the UK, where the US is storing nuclear weapons, and then also, like, nearby airports have had sightings. But there's been a lot of, like, some of the clearest images I've seen of UFOs ever have been coming from this incident, because there's so many people following it, because it's just so obvious.
Yeah, and it's all been happening over the past week. So what the heck is going on here? Anyway, we're going to speak with Congressman Nancy Mace.
Okay. Any comments on that? We got one more. Anybody have any comments on it before I go to this next one? Yeah, so here we go. And then we'll talk about it.
In the next 6 dozens of drones all across New Jersey with no authorization. And more importantly, why is the United States unable to do anything about it? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about the strange story of New Jersey's drone epidemic. Okay, so this is one of literally dozens of videos that are on social media.
Today is another thing too that hit me. I got to looking at this and thinking about it, and then remember what Trump said, that he's the last president. Okay.
November 25th, 2024.
Each of these lights is actually a drone flying.
See 3 drones just in this view. There is another one over here and another one back here. That's fun.
So you can see what they look like to almost be doing is deploying some kind of almost like a lattice or a relay network where they're all in line of sight of each other.
5. And these are the ones that interest me most because they are coming right this way. This is taken from across the street.
But what we have to ask ourselves then is why? And this is something where this isn't just a couple of guys on social media. Reportedly, there are dozens of these drones that are flying across Morris County, but also Medham, Chester, Randolph, Roxbury, Morris, Rockaway, Dover, and beyond. This is a really bizarre series of events, right? When you look at Morris County, New Jersey, you can see that it's notable in that it is just a suburb of New York. But what's also kind of weird is that it's kind of near Picatinny Arsenal and Trump's Bedminster Golf Course, but neither of them are so sensitive and significant that they would warrant flying dozens of reconnaissance drones. And again, if your goal was to spy on the United States military bases in that area, you wouldn't deploy kind of these area drones like that. And so What's also troubling is that there's an acknowledgement, right, by the FBI that this is a open investigation, and there's other signs that this is not part of a military testing protocol. But before we talk about why I know that and what I think is really happening with these drones, I wanted to mention two things. The first, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you should. I checked, about 90% of you guys are not subscribed, and that does make a difference for my channel. But second, if you want to keep me independent and get access to uncensored GoPro and drone footage from the front lines, you want to become a member over on combatthatnews.com. This is my version of Patreon, where twice a week, and why I know this isn't part of some kind of weapons testing program or like a drone lattice, like a drone network testing, is because this is a medevac helicopter trying to land in Somerset County, New Jersey, was unable to do so because these nighttime drone flights were occurring. Right, and so this was a late night crash that required a life flight, and the life flight was unable to land because there were drones in the air, and that individual had to be transported by ground to the nearest hospital much slower and really in a much more dangerous situation. The FBI is requesting pictures and videos from the public. This is not something you would do if they were testing an experimental weapon system, right? Remember, decades ago when the U.S. was testing its B-2s and its F-114 stealth fighters and bombers, they didn't really encourage pictures. They wouldn't allow pictures to be published, and certainly the FBI wasn't telling people, hey, take pictures of those aircraft, make sure we can,
Okay. So, with that being said, anybody have any feedback, comments on that? Okay.
Shalom.
Okay.
Brother Leonard, I was gonna say, my only thing is, just like that man said, why are they being tolerated?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And then, I mean, it's no different than really with the immigrants. How did you allow? How that happened? They just came in here all of a sudden.
Right.
All these years they've been held back. And then all of a sudden they come in. Nobody do nothing to them. Now this same thing with these drones. But look at the timing to it. Everything that's going on. We in between the time with Trump coming into office, Project 21, all the stuff happening in the skies over Israel, what's happening over here in the skies in America. It's just it's part of the puzzle that they got. These pieces to the puzzle that they got. They coming to a head. Okay, you can believe that. And like I said, I believe it's tied to, and then like I said, they all of a sudden now they saying that temples shouldn't be built. So I think all of it, they connected parts. It just haven't came all the way out and revealed itself. Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that? Yeah, so I was going to deal with Isaiah chapter 17. I wanted to read it. It came up a couple of times, so I want to just deal with it, read it and break it down, then we'll close out. Okay, I'm in Isaiah chapter 17. This goes back to, like I was saying, understanding a lot of these things already happened, but Christian and the Hebrew Israelite Christian, they assume that events that's going in the future. That's when once they concocted JC, they had to create a scenario for him. But most of this stuff already happened in the this past prophecies that already came to pass. So let me go to Isaiah 17. Okay. So Isaiah 17. I'm start reading. All right. It says the oracle concerning Damascus, and I don't know if you pay attention to it, but you hear this a lot. And go to Christian whatever that TBN, you're gonna hear they Perry Stone and all them talking about Damascus this and Damascus that, right? So it says chapter 17, the oracle concerning Damascus, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city and it shall be a ruinous ruinous heat. So people looking at that and not understanding and not not putting it in proper time frame. They're looking at what's happening over there right now with Assyria, with Assad and all that, and the so-called Damascus of the day. They saying end times. It's end times, right? Let's keep reading. 2. The city of Ar are forsaken; they shall be for flock. We shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Right? 3. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. So what are you talking about? Okay, he's already brought to pass the promises that he gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So Israel is like it's like sands of the sea. They multiplied and even fulfilled that. So for him to wax lean means that he's going to take away some of them, right? So when you understand who Assyria is, Assyria came and took away the 10 tribes. Only Judah, the southern kingdom, left. So when all 12 tribes is there, he was fat. But he said they're going to become lean. So he's going to remove them. He removed the 10 tribes. And like I said before, when you understand the 4 beasts that Daniel tells us about, the Chaldeans, the Medes and Persians, the Greeks, and then the Romans, Assyria came before that. That's why Assyria is not mentioned in the 4 beasts, because Assyria was the nation on the scene when Israel came out of the land of Egypt before they became a nation. What was given to Daniel by Gabriel was the 4 kingdoms that are going to come on earth after Israel became a nation. So you see right here in verse 1, the burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Ar and are forsaken, they shall be for flock, which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Then 3, the fortress also shall cease from Ephraim. So Ephraim in existence. If you want to incorporate this prophecy, Ephraim is included in it. There ain't no Ephraim right now, right? So he says, and the kingdom from Damascus, the remnant of Assyria. Talking about the Assyrians, right? Okay? They the ones took the 10 tribes away. So 4, in that day, which the day of the Lord, I told you, is more than one day of the Lord. In that day, it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin. See, that's what I'm saying. He's going to take away some of them, the 10 tribes. And the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean, right? It shall be as when the harvest man gathered the corn, right? See that? And reapeth the ears which with his arm, and it shall be as he that gathereth ears in a valley of Rephaim, right? 6, yet gleaming grapes shall be left in it. So like he says, when it says in Obadiah, grape gatherers shall come unto thee. Would they not leave some grapes? So when you go picking grapes off in a vineyard and you are harvesting the grapes, you're gonna leave some grapes. But he told them, whoever these people is that came, the grape gatherers that came to Israel, they ain't leave no grapes. They had a problem with you. They didn't leave no grapes. Same thing right here. He says, 5, and it shall be when the harvestman gathereth the corn, reapeth the ears with his arm, and it shall be as he that gathereth corn, gathereth the ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleaming grapes shall be left in it, as the shaking of an olive tree. So when you get an olive, you shake the tree, you try to get all you can. 2 or 3 berries in the top of the utmost bow, 4 or 5 in the outmost fruitful branches thereof, says the Lord, God of Israel. And at that day shall a man see, ain't that many righteous folk like today, right now, At that day shall a man look into his maker, and his eyes shall have respect for the Holy One of Israel. Why? 8. He shall not look to the altars, the work of his hands, neither shall he respect that which his fingers have made, either the groves or the images. I told you what the groves was, right? 9. In that day shall his strong cities be as forsaken boughs, and in uttermost branches which are left because of the children of Israel, and there shall be desolation, because thou hast forsaken the God of thy salvation, and hast not been mindful of the rock of thy strength. Therefore shalt thou plant pleasant plants, and shall set it with strange slips. In that day thou shalt make thy plants to grow, and in the morning shall they make thy seeds to flourish, but the harvest shall be a heat in the day of grief and a desperate sorrow. Woe to the multitude of many people which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the ruined nations that make a ruin like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but the gods shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountain before the wind, and like a rolling thing before a whirlwind. And behold, an eventide troubled, and before the morning he is not. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and a lot of them that rob us. So, like I said before, this is not some kind of prophecy from the future. It already happened, because it's talking about during the time of Assyria. And the Most High, Isaiah is telling them that they're going to be punished for their sins, for what they done. It's by turning away from him, and he's giving them a forewarning of things that's going to come. Any comments? Questions? Those are Isaiah 17. Any questions or comments? Anybody got anything else they want to talk about or bring up before we go?
Shalom. What you just read and what's going on over in Syria, it has any correlation?
No. It's what's going on in Syria. When you understand what the Syria that he's talking about in that chapter is the Assyrians during the time of Sennacherib and all of them, when they came and got the 10 tribes and took them to Israel. And so it's not the same scenario. It's not tied to that. They trying to do it now. A prime example is they saying Trump is Cyrus. Is Trump Cyrus?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. They say that's the prophecy in Isaiah 42 that Trump is Cyrus. He's the one that's going to free the Israelites, but not us, Israelis. See, you know what I'm saying? Trump is the one that's going to deliver they had a whole world thinking the people over there now is the Israelites. That's what a lot of people don't pay attention to. So what we sitting looking at and knowing who the Israelites are, they think those people are Israelites. So when they read the scripture, they're applying it to them people. Okay. Like I said, he mentioned in Isaiah 17:3 about Ephraim. Ain't no Ephraim. So he can't be talking about now. There ain't no Ephraim. Ephraim is gone. So that was during the time when Assyria was in power. Assyria was the ruling power back right before Nebuchadnezzar come. The Assyrian army was the most powerful army on the earth. And then when you go to the book of when you go to read Ruth, what's the lady's name? Or not Ruth, but Judith, book of Judith. Nebuchadnezzar was a nobody during the time of the Assyrian army and he got into a conflict with the king of Assyria, and he asked people. He started sending out letters to all the people in the area to help him, and nobody helped him. But they thought that he was going to lose the battle because they knew how fierce the Syrian army was, but not understanding that Nebuchadnezzar was Gabriel had Nebuchadnezzar in prophecy. So when Nebuchadnezzar went up against the Syrian army, those 7 angels was with him, and they routed the Syrian army, and Nebuchadnezzar ended up winning, and then he incorporated all those armies and those soldiers that was with the Syrian army with him. That's when he came back, and he came back to punish all the people that didn't help him. So that's what that is. Let me show it to you right quick. If you go to that, I was in chapter 17, but I'm gonna go to 16. All right, let's look at it right quick. To go to chapter 16, right, and it says, okay, I'm gonna start at verse chapter 15. Notice how it says, okay, where it says in chapter 14, verse 24, the title over there says, Assyria will be destroyed. Then you go to verse 29, the warning to Philistine. Then chapter 15, the oracles of Damascus. And then the prophecy of Moab's ruin. So you say, what are you talking about? All these are nations that Nebuchadnezzar coming back to destroy. But Gabriel had already told them it was going to happen. He had wrote letters to them to help him fight the Assyrians, and nobody helped him. So they thought he was going to lose. But like I said, those 7 angels was with him. And when he went up against the Syrian army, and they destroyed the Syrian army. Now Nebuchadnezzar coming back to judge all these, to bring judgment on all these nations that didn't help him. That's what you read in Isaiah 14, 15, 16, and 17, what I just read, the oracles of Damascus, all these places, prophecy against Ethiopia, all these countries, the countries that he coming back to punish because they didn't help him. And like I said, you can, what brings this understanding, bring a better understanding if you read the story of Judah. You understand better why he's Isaiah's prophesying against all these countries, because Gabriel told him Nebuchadnezzar gonna come and destroy all these countries because of what they had. They didn't listen to his voice, or they didn't pay no attention to the letter that he had sent out. Yeah. So that book of Judas is in the Apocryphal books. You have to, if you're trying to find it, read that, then come back and read Isaiah. You'll see. So, like I said, Isaiah is prophesying about Nebuchadnezzar coming just as well as Jeremiah. They both prophesying that Nebuchadnezzar is going to come and destroy the Israelites. Any questions or comments? Okay, everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll have our reading through tonight, tomorrow. If you want to come check it out, it's 7 to 9 Central Time, okay? Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Shalom.